Welcome back to the World According to Briggs and a video about where you can retire or just live on less than $1,900 a month in the western Midwest of the United States. That's North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri. I would have done the entire Midwest, it just has too many states. Split it up. The average Social Security check for someone who paid into it their whole life in 2025 was $1,976, and that's up from $1,927 in 2024. Now, that's according to Kiplinger's personal finance page. I checked the Social Security Department, and that's accurate. And that's also the basis of today's video. In this video, we're just sticking to the basics. We aren't getting into your health care or anything like that. Basics are rent, utilities, cell service, and groceries. I'm not going to show you all the numbers like I did in the Pacific Northwest one. That got a little tedious. I'm just going to tell you what the rent is, how much it is to lead a very basic life, like bare bones on a tight budget with thrifted groceries and modest utilities. I'll also include what we figure would be a more comfortable life. You know, you're not pinching every penny. But we're ranking these cities by the basic bare bones. Let's take a look. Number 10, Springfield, Missouri. Springfield feels like a big, small town. You've got the Ozark Hills on the edge of the city, plenty of parks and trails to wander, and enough shops and diners that you don't have to drive an hour for basics. People here are actually nice for no reason. If they're nice to you for no reason in New York or Los Angeles, you start to wonder if you're about to be robbed or sold something you don't need, like speakers out of the back of a van. In Springfield, you can catch a double-A ball game, a live show downtown, or just take it easy at a place like Jordan Valley Park. Day-to-day life here is simple. Errands in shorts, traffic is mild, and there's solid medical options in and around the city. So you're not gambling with your health care to move to Springfield. I will tell you, they have a little bit of crime, like most cities. Theirs was out of hand a couple years back. It's gotten a lot better. Springfield's also easy on your wallet. Typical one-bedroom apartment can run around $900 to $950 a month. That's according to the typical rent trackers like Apartment.com. Poking around Apartment.com in Springfield, I did see a few that were right around $800, maybe $750. They weren't the greatest, but if you're really looking to live on a budget, not a bad option. Either way, both numbers leave room in your $2,000 budget for groceries, utilities, and a couple nights out that don't include strippers and heavy drinking, I imagine. Here's their numbers. The average for a one-bedroom in Springfield is about $950, so your basic life, when you add all the other stuff in, comes out to about $1,875. That's the bare bones lifestyle. Comfort, about $2,280. Number 9, Fargo, North Dakota. Fargo feels modern without trying too hard. They got live music, solid food, and a university energy that doesn't keep you up past 9 unless you want it to. Summers are for patios and the Red River trails. Winter is for declaring your driveway an upper body workout and then rewarding yourself with a soup that could win medals. You know, that is something weird. I've known a few people from North Dakota, and they always know either where to get the best soup or how to make the best soup. Strange. Matter of fact, I make split pea soup every now and then, and it is from a recipe I got from someone from North Dakota, from a little town called Hazen, if I remember correctly. But Fargo is orderly, practical, and just quirky enough to keep you curious. Retirees appreciate Fargo's clean streets, safe neighborhoods, and healthcare bench that's surprisingly deep for a city this size. The cost of living is sensible, and the city plans things. Parks, events, transit, like it expects people to stick around. If you're chasing predictable expenses and dependable services, Fargo's essentially the set it and forget it of retirement choices of cities in general. You just got to deal with the cold. I mean, it's Fargo. And when I say cold, I mean cold. Here's their numbers. A one-bedroom goes for about $920 in Fargo. Basic lifestyle is about $1,825. If you want to live comfortably, $2,255. Obviously, depending on what you consider comfortable, it could be a lot more. Our kind of comfortable is you're not studying the thermostat all winter and not riding out the flu because you don't want to spend the money on Dayquil. Number 8, St. Cloud, Minnesota. St. Cloud is a river city with just the right amount of bustle. Concerts in the summer, hockey in the winter, and a steady rhythm that makes life enjoyable and doesn't add much unneeded stress. The university keeps the bookstore stocked and the coffee fresh, while the parks do the heavy lifting for anyone who likes trees and fresh air. Now, it's become popular over the last few years with younger, liberal-leaning adults, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the growing tech scene and the breweries. Speaking of the breweries, there's a really nice one I like. It's like on 5th and 1st. It's called One West Brewery, I think, or First West Brewery, maybe Tap House, something like that. Anyway, I was leaving the Best Western, was walking down the street, and I see a guy standing in an alley. I ask him, where's there a good place to get a beer? He slaps the building he's leaned up against. I didn't realize he was using the restroom or urinating, and he said, right here, go around the corner. I was like, this man knows what he's talking about. So I walked around, and it was like a West Tap House or something like that. Nice, cozy place. Retirees pick St. Cloud for its sensible prices and strong medical care. Plain and simple. Housing is attainable, utilities are reasonable, and the VA and regional hospitals give you peace of mind. It's a place where your fixed income feels less fixed, more fitted, leaving room for weekend drives, grandkid bribes, and that kayak you promised yourself years ago. Here's the numbers. A one-bedroom goes for about $907 a month. If you want to live here basically, just basic bare-bones stuff, $1,812 a month. Comfort, live a little large, $2,244 a month. Number 7, North Platte, Nebraska. North Platte feels like the kind of rail town that learned time management from Union Pacific schedules. Steady, predictable, and not trying to be anything it isn't. You've got the Platte River for quiet walks, a tidy downtown for something to do, and festivals that show up right when you've run out of excuses to stay home. The vibe is practical in a good way. Folks fix things, wave from porches, and treat sunny afternoons like free entertainment. This is a city, but people really think it's a small town. It's not so small that everyone knows your business, but it's small enough to where you'll see the same people at the grocery store, the pub, and the church in one day. For retirees, the appeal is simple math plus low drama. The rental websites all say you can get a one-bedroom apartment here for $800 to $1,000 range, and you're going to get something decent for that money. Healthcare is close, traffic is a non-issue, and groceries don't require a treasure map. If your goal is to stretch savings without living like a monk, North Platte gives you room for the basics, a few hobbies, and the occasional road trip. No budget acrobatics required. The average one bedroom goes for about $886, so your basic is going to be about $1,804 a month. For comfort, you're looking around $2,235. Number 6, Topeka, Kansas. Topeka wears the state capital label like a comfortable jacket. Useful, not flashy, and full of pockets. Museums and a renovated downtown give you rainy day options, while neighborhood diners will be the place you see friends, talk sports, and gossip. Nothing like hearing a little diner gossip, Makes me feel like home. And if you're Irish and you have sisters and aunts around, you know what I mean. Trails snake along the river and through parks, so your daily walk can change scenery without involving a road trip. Retirees love Topeka, probably because it has a lot of public services that are quality, and the cost of living hasn't really discovered that this is a great place to live yet. You get multiple hospital systems, straightforward taxes, and a housing market that doesn't play games. It's easy to downshift here. You buy a riding mower, you buy some new gardening gloves, and you still have enough left over for weekend jaunts to Kansas City without the Kansas City price tag. Topeka's not a bad place to live. I mean, it's really hard to find horrible places to live in Kansas, but it's definitely not bad. They got a Margaritaville resort not too far from the Kansas Speedway, and they got a Great Wolf Lodge, so, it's a pretty cool place to hang out. That's not in the Topeka area, that's closer to Kansas City, but it's a great place to stay. It's really hard to find bad places in Kansas. But here's the numbers for Topeka. A one-bedroom goes for about $818 a month. Now, if you want to live here basic, bare bones, you're looking at $1,720 a month. Comfortable? About $2,133. Either way, it's affordable. Number 5, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Cedar Rapids is a get-stuff-done city with a creative streak. Think art museums on Tuesday and minor league baseball on Friday, with a pork tenderloin sandwich somewhere in between. The trail network here is enough that your step counter will run out of complaints. You'll find that the neighborhoods are clean and tidy. Obviously, not every single one. Some of the older parts of town need, new roads and their sidewalks fixed. But they got a lot of new construction, new developments where it's still clean and tidy. Cedar Rapids is another place that's starting to gain a little popularity with the younger adults that, do tech or remote work, probably because it's so cheap. And retirees like the combination of reasonable home prices and a strong healthcare presence. Utilities won't arm wrestle your budget, and the city's recovery-minded planning means parks and public spaces are well cared for. If your ideal routine is breakfast, walk, volunteer shift, repeat, with the occasional grandkid invasion, Cedar Rapids makes that schedule look surprisingly upscale. Here's the numbers. A one-bedroom goes for about $793 a month. If you want to live bare bones basic, you're looking at spending probably $1,698 a month, so basically $1,700. And to live comfortably, go all the way up to $2,128. Number 4, Waterloo, Iowa. Waterloo has a grounded factory town backbone with a growing list of comfort city perks, museums, bike paths, and enough local eateries to keep your calendar in try something new mode for quite a while. The Cedar River is a constant companion, and the pace leaves space for hobbies that don't require a stopwatch. Waterloo is about an hour northwest of Cedar Rapids, in case the Cedar River didn't tip you off that they're pretty close to each other. Out this part of the country, any major city or good-sized town is only there because of two things: a river or a railroad. Retirees appreciate that Waterloo's housing is sane and won't make you sweat when you sign your loan papers. Costs are manageable, services are nearby, and you can find a doctor, a pharmacy, and a hardware store without crossing 3 zip codes. It's a practical choice for people who want their retirement to feel steady, not staged. Here's the numbers. A one-bedroom in Waterloo, Iowa goes for about $795. Now, if you want to break all their numbers down, to live basic, you need about $1,693 a month. To live comfortably, about $2,123. It's not bad. Number 3, Aberdeen, South Dakota. Aberdeen is a plain-spoken prairie city where life runs on common sense. Downtown has that old-school Main Street feel, and the pace is calm enough that you'll actually hear birds in the morning. You've got what you need: grocery stores, clinics, parks, without everything being a 45-minute drive problem. Winter here is real. You're going to need a parka. But neighbors look out for each other, and the community calendar stays busy with small festivals and local sports. Now, you really only want to move here if you can handle cold weather, because South Dakota, and even more so North Dakota, are pretty rough. The kind of cold where you're going, I got to do this, you got to leave the house for something, maybe a doctor's appointment or pick something up from the store. I'll give it a couple days till it warms up. Next thing you know, it's been a month. Now, the price tag is the real hook here. The cost of living is 22% below the national average. Translation: housing, utilities, and everyday costs don't attack your savings the second you show up, which makes that sub-$2,000 monthly retirement budget actually doable without living on instant noodles and a half a cup of water a day. Now, if you really want to live in a place that's far away from everyone, Aberdeen's what you're looking for. I mean, there's nothing around this place. I think the closest big city to Aberdeen is Fargo, and that's like 3 hours away almost, about 2.5, 3 hours. This place has a connection with Wizard of Oz. The author actually lived here for a while, started like the local newspaper or wrote for it. They got a place called Storybook Land in town. That's free admission to get into this park, and it's pretty cute. They have some kid rides that cost like $3 a piece. Pretty interesting place. They have a yellow brick road, in case you're wondering. You could follow it. It goes by some of the scenes of the movie. Here's the numbers. A one-bedroom in Aberdeen goes for about $775 a month. Now, if you want to live basic, bare bones, you're looking at about $1,691 a month. Live a little more comfortably, $2,214. Number 2, Grand Island, Nebraska. Have you ever heard of Grand Island? Not a lot of people have, but you will find it east of North Platte, down Interstate 80, about 2 hours away. Now, you're probably wondering why it's called Grand Island in the middle of Nebraska. Well, in 1857, 35 German settlers left Davenport, Iowa, and headed west to Nebraska to start a new settlement on an island. This island was known to French traders as Le Grand Island, which was formed by the Wood River and the Platte River. This isn't a bad place to live, especially if you want some entertainment out in the middle of nowhere. They've got the Grand Island Resort here, which is a casino. But Grand Island offers retirees a southern Midwest style of living, enough amenities to feel comfortable, yet modest enough that your budget doesn't feel like it's being taxed just for showing up. It has local healthcare facilities, parks, and community events that will help keep your days engaging without requiring a luxury budget. Now, what makes it cheap? According to the cost of living data, one-bedroom rentals here in Grand Island average between $750 and $850 a month, which is well below the national average. That lower rent means you can allocate more towards groceries, travel, or hobbies without stressing out about the roof over your head. Yeah, if you want rural living and still have a casino, this is a good option. Here's their numbers. A one-bedroom goes for about $767 a month. Now, if you want to live basic, bare bones, you're looking at about $1,683. Comfortably, about $2,225. All right, before we get to number one, I just want to thank everyone for showing up and watching my videos. It means a lot. I really enjoy doing this, and without you guys, I'm just some dude that travels around and says strange things to people. All right, on to number one. And number one, Hutchinson, Kansas. Yeah, we're staying in Kansas. Hutchinson is the kind of place where the big Saturday decision is whether to hit the farmer's market or finally tour the underground salt museum and pretend you're scouting locations for a heist film. The downtown has just enough coffee and hardware to keep both your inner poet and your leaky faucet happy. Traffic is a rumor. Errands are a lap, and the Arkansas River Trail gives you a place to stretch your legs without feeling like you're training for a marathon you never signed up for. Retirees like Hutchinson because the math works without needing a spreadsheet that looks like a NASA launch prep. Rents are tame, utilities won't scold you for running the AC, and healthcare is close enough that you don't have to pack a lunch to get to your appointment. Add in small town clubs, church socials, and hobby groups that actually welcome newcomers, and you've got a low-stress landing spot where your savings don't sleep with one eye open. It's not a bad place to live. If you're like most people and never heard of Hutchinson, it is northwest of Wichita, Kansas. All right, here's the numbers. A one-bedroom, on average, in Hutchinson is $526 a month. That's it. Basic lifestyle, bare bones, like I said before, $1,431 a month. Live comfortably, $1,861, and you should be fine. All right, that's today's video. If you enjoyed it, you probably like one of the two videos being shown right now. You got 10 affordable towns in Idaho, and you got 10 places with cheap real estate. All right, everyone, have a great day. Be nice to each other.